Well, and it is a bit of a segue here between things you were talking about earlier, last half hour, and all three of you have been mentioning, and that is when you talk about the $70 billion that's been provided to Ukraine for the war with Russia. If you look at the amount of increase in fuel costs that this administration caused, it drove up the price of oil, the price of natural gas, so much that Russia made, last I saw, over $60 billion more than they had before. So this administration is really responsible for funding both sides of the war between Russia and Ukraine. The 60+ billion that Russia got because Biden's actions increased the cost of fuel, and then the 70 billion that we appropriated to Ukraine. And you go, this is nuts that they would be doing that. And then you look at who's getting hurt, and you mentioned the strategic oil petroleum reserve. It's down to its lowest point in decades because this president was trying to cover for his disastrous energy policy. And so the millions of barrels that the Trump administration put in there so we would have it for an emergency like a hurricane and other things, that's all gone, trying to cover for Biden's own disastrous policies. So the American public, they see the price of gasoline coming down some, but people need to understand what this is all about. It's what it's always been about. Power in the hands of a small group of elitists and everybody else, like in the Middle Ages, for many ages. The wealthy ride, the poor walk. And that's what this energy policy of theirs is really all about. It's going to leave, I saw a picture just before I came over, John Kerry on his private plane, flying, using that energy because he's important, because he's the elite. But everybody else is going to need to give up their cars. And as our friend Thomas Massey has pointed out, plugging in a car at night is like plugging in 17 refrigerators. And everybody won't be able to do it. But if everybody will go to an electric car, then people aren't going to have power. And then they'll have to rely on their buddy, the big brother government, to say, okay, some of you can plug in these times. What about when we were independent and we didn't need the government to tell us when we could move about? And this is where it's headed. The green is really a brown policy, and it's going to be really unpleasant. I yield back.
If the gentleman